15 days to make the family or to serve a meal to guests or relatives. And then for value addition, we may ask about members of the households who had to skip the meal. So this is as the last question there was, that was more severe form of hunger, but not connected with this. So there is a collinearity between these also. So all those which were included in the first 6-7 questions showing food insecurity, you see, will come here because here we are asking individuals. Next, please. Now, this type of fast can be easily regularly canvassed by agencies like National Statistical Office, now NSO, and by similar survey agencies across the countries. It has the potential of being part of consumption surveys of National Statistical Office. Next, please. Now, to improve hunger estimation, we can further improve our hunger estimation. You see, the two components we have already included, but if we can get some more information on lack of access, so we should include that. That will further improve the hunger estimate. And that information can be added from the secondary data on, say, on PDS system, supply, natural disasters, cyclone, others, and related variables to assess the excess component. Such, you see, data can be available from studies like food insecurity and food and nutrition insecurity atlases, which provide data on availability, access, and observation. And finally, I must say that dietary and consumption surveys should not be conducted every year. It is very difficult, very time consuming. Particularly dietary surveys cannot be conducted every year, should not be conducted every year. And what we recommend is they should be conducted every 3 years. This would allow evaluation of hunger status at a low cost without much difficulty. Next, please. So next is the one which I want to say from my heart. Okay, thank you so much. If you have, let me leave the floor to.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for giving these valid reasons and enlightening us with your this research work, which has been greatly accepted at the PM level, at the NITI Aayog level, and all other policy level departments of our government. And I'm sure that with this insights, the international agencies will take a corrective measure and will come out with the measures which you have suggested, like fast and fast, or the other kind of corrective measures which are required. Now, if Dr. Padam Singh is there, may I invite the comments or some additional thing from Professor Padam Singh. Can you unmute Dr. Padam Singh, please? Arpit? Yes, sir, you can speak.
Thank you, Dr. Agrawal. Thank you, Dr. Nigam. I think for the audience, let me say, in India, Professor Nigam was the one who initiated discussion on this global hunger index. And he started 2 years back. And that time, no seriousness was attached to this issue. Now, you know, the government was being attacked from all sides. How is it that our ranking is so poor? Now, ICMR also constituted a committee. WCD got interested and everybody. And then the work of Professor Nigam became handy on this subject. I think he is the only one who has done this behavioral survey. And Dr. Agrawal, let me bring it to the attention of everybody that FAO, they are trying to impose, I am using the word impose, FIES, Food Insecurity Survey. They have developed a module of 10 questions, and what is being propagated is that this is FIES which should be used by all countries to measure hunger. And using that through Gallup surveys and all that, the latest 2021 report of GHI, they used some data out of such surveys. NSSO, as Professor Nigam has already said, we were collecting similar information on all household consumption expenditure surveys or 2 square meals a day. I think this is the right time that somebody has to, compare these 3 methods. One is NSSO, 2 square meals a day, the FAO method, FIES, and the third one, which Professor Nigam has already piloted. The FIES has not been piloted for India. And I think one can come out, with a judicious combination of all the 3, or maybe one of these 3, and whatever is available on the subject should be made use of. FAST. It is not that Professor Nigam used just the fast, but he modified it in Indian context. And Dr. Agrawal, you are occupying that seat. Should such studies not be initiated by ICAR? Should we not be on the forefront that this issue should be examined in details, in depth, and Professor Nigam and his team may be requested to do it. I think he will be the right person. So this is something, zero hunger being one of the important goals of SDG. We have to do it, we have to monitor it, and we have to monitor with the right methodology, right scale, right questionnaire, right survey. So as he has said, dietary survey is no solution. Very costly. We cannot do every year. But such surveys, behavioral-based surveys, can be done and maybe part of NSSO surveys or part of NFHS surveys or independent surveys. I mean, would be a choice. But this is, Dr. Agrawal, my observations and initial comments. And this is something very serious issue. And I think you, being DDG, being from our fraternity, you understand the issues. Please be proactive and contribute to the nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And I will have a talk discussion with the ISRA and then decide how to go further in this direction. Now, may I request Dr. V.K. Gupta? Arpit, can you unmute Dr. Vinod Gupta? He is another renowned statistician, a lot of contribution. Sir, can you adjust your camera? Yes, please. Sir, unmute, please.
I'm unmute.
No, it's fine. Yeah. No, it's fine, sir. You can go ahead. Now again, it is mute, sir.
Unmute. Now, is it fine now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Agrawal. Thank you, Professor Arun Nigam, for a very interesting, very illuminating, and a very good exposition of some very great ideas on a very major problem of current interest. I think global hunger index has become a global problem also. There's a discussion globally on this very aspect. You have already given a very brilliant exposition, and Professor Padam Singh has also enumerated a lot about this. So I don't think there is much left to add to what has already been described. And to confess very honestly, I am not an expert in this area, but as a statistician, I may like to say a few words. First and foremost, what I would like to say is that I had a good fortune of knowing Professor Nigam for the last 50 years. I've known him for the last 50 years, starting from 1972. And since then, we have been in very close touch with each other, including Dr. Padam Singh. We have always been together discussing and, doing things together. He has been my mentor. He is my mentor, and he will continue to be my mentor. That is a fact which I cherish, and I really enjoy that. But more than that, he's also very good friend. So that is about his personal characteristics. I know him since I have been traveling all along in this journey with him. I know that whatever research topic he undertakes, he puts his full weight behind it. He does it with all seriousness, and he becomes a champion in that. And Dr. Agarwal, you have known him as much, if not as much as I have known, but not less than that also. And you know how he started his career, and he was an expert in combinatorial theory, and he was doing designs and experiments with mixture, partially efficiency balance design, response surfaces. Hardcore statistics, basic research. And then from there, he moved on to hunger, poverty, health, child nutrition, and so on and so forth. His several recommendations have been adopted by the government. So that is the transformation that has taken place from a hardcore statistician, basic research statistician, to an applied scientist. But even when he was a hardcore statistician at ICAR, I remember we had done a project together. We had done some research work also. And, from these at that time so-called the model agronomic experiment, we dig out some data. And when we plotted the yield against the levels of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potash, we found that the distributions are highly skewed. They are not symmetric. So he introduced what are known as the inverse polynomials. So he had an eagle eye looking into the data and looking into some problems which are of great importance as far as the innovative applications of statistical sciences are concerned to solve real life problems. So with this background, it's not a wonder that Dr. Nigam has indulged himself into such an important topic of global hunger index. He has said all the things, and it may be very difficult to make any observation on global hunger index. But my personal feeling is, and that has been echoed by Dr. Nigam as well, that statistically speaking, we have to define the parameter first. And if you think of parameter, when I say parameter, I mean we have to define what is hunger. Before we define hunger, we cannot have a global hunger index. And to define hunger, it has to be a global definition, because if we are talking of a global hunger index, then it has to be a global definition, which has to be acceptable to all. Whether it should be a global hunger index or each country should be given freedom to have their own hunger index, that's a question of debate. But when we talk of global hunger index, then there has to be a global definition of that. And as Dr. Nigam mentioned in his address, that global hunger index, the main proponent of that is access to food. He also added anxiety to that, but possibly I feel, that's my feeling, but I may be wrong, the access to food and anxiety are related. If there is no access to food, anxiety will always be there. So I don't know whether anxiety would add much to the definition or not, but there has to be a clear definition. Is it to be related to food insecurity, or is it to be related to nutritional insecurity as well? Well, we have to define the global hunger according to that. So once a global hunger definition comes into picture, then we know what is our targeted population, what type of indicators we have to choose, and how those indicators have to be combined. Whether they have to be combined by taking simple average, or whether we have to take weighted index, what type of weights are to be taken, and all these issues. And I think Dr. Nigam has highlighted all such issues. I'm only just reiterating and giving importance to these issues, which are very important for all of us. Now, to conclude, I would also like to echo what Dr. Padam Singh said, that it is, I mean, this issue is being discussed at many platforms, and Dr. Padam Singh and Dr. Nigam are component of every discussion wherever it is discussed. So maybe ICAR, NAS, Niti Aayog, all of these have to combine together and impress upon the government of India that this should be taken up on a large scale, and some useful studies should be conducted. And who else can do it then other than ICAR? So maybe I would also very strongly suggest that Education Division should take up this matter and let the team of Dr. Nigam, I mean, you can find a place where it can be done. It can be done at ISDS, an institution which is for which Dr. Nigam is a consultant, senior consultant, or consultant advisor. Actually, that organization has been developed by him only, and maybe ISRI. So all these, these institutions can join together and come up with a platform. I'm indeed grateful that I became a part of this, and I thank Dr. R.C. Agarwal for giving me this opportunity to become a part of this very illuminating talk. Thank you very much, Dr. Nigam. I'm sorry I have been a little long, but I was, very emotional in talking. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your comments, for your feelings. And we know that Professor Nigam has been a very good teacher, and this has been proved today also. I requested him not to involve any statistical parameters or all those symbols in this. And that's why he has given a very layman's language. Everybody can understand that what are the problems. Because that much mathematics, statistics, everybody knows. What is the arithmetic mean and what is the percentage and other kind of. He has not used any complicated statistical terms during his talk. It's a great thing. And that is the identity of the great teachers. That when they talk, they can talk in a very layman's language, which even a person who doesn't know ABCD of that subject, he can understand. So thank you very much, sir. And I'm sure that this talk has benefited our all colleagues, our all vice chancellors, our all senior colleagues, DDGs from ICAR. Somehow I got a regret from our DG. He could not join because of his parallel meetings. But I'll convey the message to him. Otherwise, he personally wanted to attend this and wanted to get benefited by this. So I thank all my colleagues who have joined for this important lecture. And in this lecture series, we have many more lectures to come by international experts, national experts. And it's a weekly lecture series which we do. And at the end of this lecture series, we are going to compile a document by having the salient points, recommendations of these lectures. So we are eagerly waiting for that compilation. We are working on it. And maybe by 15th August, we'll release that important document to, for the benefit of all. So thank you once again, sir. And thanks to all my esteemed colleagues. Namaskar.
Thank you so much.
Namaskar.